The question mark over Davis puts a lot of responsibility on Olympian Peter Ally. Ally works the defensive boards well, blocking out his opponent, preventing offensive rebounds and doing a lot of physical work without the ball. Offensively, Ally sets a solid screen, stepping out from the high post to allow Daryl Pearce and Mike McKay to get free for a shot. OK, the 36ers will open with a man-to-man defence, and I expect Davis to start guarding Supersonics star and former Harlem Globetrotter Tony Pinder. At 6'8", Pinder is a player of unquestionable talent and ability, but has been involved in several behind-the-play incidents. 36ers coach Ken Cole has described the Sydney Supersonics as the dirtiest team in the league. The Sydney team is big and boasts 5 American-born players, plus American coach Owen Wells, a former US professional star. This match promises to be the classic confrontation between a champion team and a team of champions. We now take you to Apollo Stadium. Your commentators are Lynn Parnell and Andrew Kay.
And it's the first game of the NBL season. In the tip is Bill Jones, tipping up against 7-foot Derek Polk for the Sydney Supersonics, but it's the 36ers immediately into offence. There's a man-to-man defence by the Sonics. A lovely screen and roll off by Mark Davis. Mark Davis with the injured ankle coming back. And that was a lovely screen and roll by Davis, and Daryl Pearce did a great job. Took his defensive man into that screen and made a lovely pass underneath for Davis to score.
Already the psychological advantage to the West End 36ers. Davis on the foul line. They lead 2-0 the first game of the season. Davis makes the shot. They now need 3-0.
And this could be a big scoring game, Andrew. The last time these two teams played against each other, there was a record 53 points scored in one quarter.
Well, then they both play the sort of basketball the public to see. It's exciting as a turnover now for against the Sydney side. The pass goes in from Pearce. Davis up and 2 points.
Lovely move, Davis. Stopped through the feint. The defence took a step back, and Davis made an easy 2 points.
Well, I suppose the people are going to watch here to see how his ankle holds up as Tiny Pinder scores from outside, and that's 2 points to Sydney. The West End 36ers lead 5-2.
Pinder is the big danger man as far as the 36ers are concerned. This man can do everything. That's a bad pass, and the Supersonics bring the ball in, but they'd be looking to Pinder to pull down probably 16 rebounds for the game and score probably 20-odd points.
He's unquestionably one of the best players in Australia, a former Harlem Globetrotter, as Davis again takes the ball away. The pass from Green into Davis. No doubt about that one either. Yes, he's missed, but he's got it again. You won't see him miss twice, and Davis already has scored 7 points for the West End 36ers, their entire score, and isn't he just so strong?
Well, Davis has spent the last 14 days at the Hindmarsh Sports Injury Clinic having treatment on his ankle, and by my word, he's come up very well and looking very confident, scoring the first 7 points for the 36ers. Wayne Burden trying to organise the Supersonics into some sort of offence, hustled there by Green into Big Polk. 7 foot tall, that man with the ball. Back to Pinder, back to Burden, who puts the shot up from outside for 2 points. So it's the 36ers 7 leading the Supersonics 5.
Certainly the crowd on the edge of their seats only a couple of minutes into the game, as there is a foul now against Daryl Pearce as he was driving into the basket. You'll see now Daryl Pearce going for the drive. There's a slap there, and he's now on the foul line and will take 2.
So Daryl Pearce, probably the best perimeter shooter for the 36ers. It's very unusual for Daryl Pearce to shoot anything less than about 98% from the foul line.
Tremendous player, and it'd be great to see him really establish himself in that Australian team as he makes the second one. West End 36ers take an early 4-point lead.
So it's Scott Fenton for the Supersonics to Burden. Burden picks the ball up. He's looking to throw the ball inside to Big Polk. Polk with a turnaround jump shot, defence by Jones. And Jones did everything right, put the hand up, but it was a good 2 points by Polk.
Well, they want to tell you around here that Polk can't get off the ground, but he did all right there to get over Bill Jones as Bill Jones puts one up at the other end. Davis the rebound again, hit away by Polk. Davis still in there fighting. Unlucky not to get a foul there. Pearce, 2 points.
And that's the value of Mark Davis to the 36ers. I mean, he put in 2 and 3 efforts there, grabbed a couple of rebounds, went up for the shot. A couple of fouls there that probably weren't called, but Davis is so strong, and he flicked the ball out there to give his teammate a chance. He's not a selfish player at all.
As he picks up another rebound, and Fast break goes off to Al Green all the way, draws the foul, misses the basket, and a foul against Wayne Burden there.
That's an intentional foul called on Wayne Burden. It's how the 36ers look good. They throw the ball out to Green, and Green runs on that fast break. And Al would be disappointed he didn't make that shot, even though he was hit fairly solidly by Burden. So Green goes to the line. Green will make these 2 shots, I would think. And it's intentional called, so the 36ers will gain possession after the second of these shots.
Just talking about the value of Mark Davis as we were. I was talking to the team manager, Jeff Cools, before the game, and he's quite right when he says a 70% fit Mark Davis is better than a 100% fit other player.
Well, that's right. Mark is just so strong, Mark Davis. He dominates the boards. He's just come back from trying out with the 2 professional teams in the National Basketball League in America as Davis, the man we're talking about, loses possession on that occasion. A bit unlucky, but he was very unlucky not to make the NBA in American basketball.
Certainly must have gone very close, Lynn, because he really is a class player, as once again we see Al Green bringing the ball down for the 36ers. Hands off to Pearce. Davis sets up the screen. Pearce from outside misses. In fact, misses by a long way for him. And the Sydney Supersonics will take control from the sideline.
And that's how the 36ers offence works. They have that high post stepping out from around the foul line, the top of the key area, to set a screen for players like Daryl Pearce and Mike Mackay. They come off that screen so well, and if they are able to get free, well, then they'll hit a very good percentage of shots from out there.
It's not surprising to see the players making mistakes this early in the game. Very first game of the season. I think all 10 players on the court now would have a certain amount of nerves about them. But it's important for the 36ers that Pearce hits early. He's a confidence player as Mike Mackay goes for a three-pointer and does it. Pearce, tremendous shot from Mike Mackay.
And that's the value of the 36ers balance. They've got 2 people who can shoot from outside in Mike Mackay, as you've just seen with that three-pointer, and the Iceman, Daryl Pearce. He's a three-point specialist. And then inside you've got Bill Jones, who does everything under the boards. Mark Davis is so strong. And Al Green, of course, who complements the team because he is just so fast down the floor. So with Jones and Davis rebounding, Green running down the floor, and Mackay and Pearce able to shoot from outside, they're just a lovely balanced team.
It was great to see Mike Mackay as Polk scores again for the Sonics. Mike Mackay back from a serious knee injury. Al Green tries to drive all the way. Tapped in by Jones. Lovely work by Bill Jones. Followed Green all the way.
So it's Scott Fenton with the ball. Throws the ball out to Polk. You don't like to see a 7-foot man standing that far away from the basket on offence. There's Tiny Pinder with a turnaround jumper, misses. And off hands, it's Fenton with the ball. Sydney looking very ragged in their offence. They haven't got any continuity yet.
As you said, there's not much value in Polk being 3 foot outside the three-point line. As Pinder again puts up and misses, but Polk picks up the rebound and puts it away. Bill Jones not very happy about that. He thinks it was his man.
But Billy Jones can't afford to pick up the easy fouls under the basket, and Polk is 7 foot tall. He's standing right in close under the basket, and he would have, the shot was going to be made anyway, and he didn't want to pick up the cheap foul. And both teams are shooting 66% from the floor as Foul Dennis goes in underneath. Beautiful rebound by Pinder, who puts it up, and Daryl Pearce contesting under the basket, and the ball's going to come off hands.
Away and makes the basket. So the West End 36 is now 21, leading Sydney's 20, I should say, leading the Supersonics 11.
And Mike Mackay, Rookie of the Year last year in the NBL, just recovered from a very severe knee injury, and it looks like he's been training all summer because he's done really well. And he's shooting 100% from the floor. I think we've got a substitution now, and it's Audie Matthews coming in, and he's replacing Andrew Spaldenis.
Ken Cole is doing exactly as he said he would. He's resting Davis, and I suppose that's the right thing to do. It's only early in the season. Peter Ally comes on, the captain from last year, and a great veteran of South Australian basketball. Bill Jones drives, makes the basket.
Bill Jones very much more an offensive player this season than we saw last year. He was just content to take rebounds last year, and in this first game of the 86 season we see Bill Jones looking very much an offensive threat as well as doing the damage on the boards as Burden goes all the way for the Supersonics and misses, and it's Al Green with a rebound, and the 36ers are back into offence. Hand off to Eli, and Bill Jones brings up the rear. Daryl Pearce runs into offence. Mike Mackay, Eli sets the screen, Mackay goes across, Eli rolls underneath the basket as Pearce takes the outside shot, and it's good. So that's the West End 36ers 23-24, leading the Sydney Supersonics 11. As Wayne Burden, hotly guarded there by Al Green. Tiny Pinder with the ball. Inside, glass hands from Polk, and the Sydney Supersonics not looking good in offence.
Polk just standing a little flat-footed there. The ball really was scooted in, and it just went straight through his hands as Pearce tries again. Misses, hits the ring.
Pinder off hands to Scott Fenton. And that's the first fast break from the Sydney Supersonics, which just goes to show that the 36ers offence is all nice and balanced. They're covering the backcourt, and down in defence, the Sydney team are not able to get too many offensive rebounds because although they're a lot bigger, the 36ers are blocking out really well.
Just the early stats on the rebounds. Adelaide have taken 5 and Sydney 4, so Adelaide just in front, which is quite remarkable when you consider how small they are compared to the Sonic. Pearce again makes another three-pointer.
Darryl Pearce loves to drive to his right-hand side, and that's just a nice pick-up, fall-away jump shot from Darryl Pearce. And he's hot tonight too.
So the 36ers in control at the moment, 26-13 as the pass comes in, and again Bill Jones intercepts, but in the meantime, referee Jeff Weeks has called an infringement. It's a foul
on Peter Eli.
Both teams making substitutions again. David Spear comes in for the 36ers as Al Green leaves the court, and Kurt Forrester comes on for the Sydney Supersonics,
replacing Wayne Burden. And young David Spear, he's been a success story for the 36ers. He's a junior player, come up through the ranks here in South Australia. There's a shot from Matthews. Hands foul's being called on Mike Mackay, and Matthews will go to the line. But young David Spear, in the last pre-season trial game against Canberra, young David came on in the opening 5 against Canberra, did a really good job, and he played his first game of basketball at the age of 2.5, where one of the teams that he was involved in were short of a player, so his father put him on the court with a handful of lollies, and he made up the numbers. So he's been playing basketball a long time, Andrew.
Well, the ball probably would have been bigger than him, I should say, when he was 2.5, as we see Audie Matthews at the foul line now. Matthews, the recruit from Brisbane, makes the second one. And it's now 26-14 in favour of the West End 36ers. Spear with the ball. Palms off to Mike Mackay. The screen again, down to Pearce. Pearce drives in, misses, but it's another foul called.
And the foul's been called on Pinder, and Pinder actually threw the arm out and jabbed Pearce in the middle. You'll see that as he come up, there's that hand. You saw the hand go into the lower abdomen region of Darryl Pearce, and Pinder's trying to put a bit of pressure on Pearce, make him frightened to extend his arms, exposing his midriff. And as has been mentioned earlier, Tiny Pinder's getting a bit of a reputation as a bit of a hitman.
Well, I believe Pinder has also been causing a little bit of trouble in the Sydney camp this year as Pearce makes the first. He likes to dictate his terms, and of course Owen Wells, the Sydney coach, not too happy about that as Pinder takes a strong rebound. Palms the ball off now to Zoran Zunic, who's come on for the Sonics. He passes off to Pinder. They really do rely very heavily on Tiny Pinder, and he is a class player.
And Pinder's just going to go one-on-one against Peter Eli. This is where the referees are going to have to make sure they pick the right foul, because both of these players are fairly strong and fairly physical. We see a substitution with Darryl Pearce having a spell and Raymond Wood coming onto the floor. Raymond Wood, seasoned veteran, very good outside shooter, only a small player, very strong guard, very good team man. And the 36ers are shooting 71% from the floor, and the Sydney Supersonics are shooting 48% from the floor, as Polk hits 2 points to take Sydney Supersonics to 27. I'm sorry, the 36ers to 27, and the Supersonics are trailing with 16 points.
Well, both coaches not scared to make plenty of substitutions early in this game, as Adelaide sends the ball back out to Ray Wood, now to Mike Mackay. Adelaide set the screen, but Mackay goes the other way and draws the foul, this time on Audie Matthews. And you'll see now he feints and then goes with his left hand. Matthews keeps moving, and eventually Mackay can't get a clear shot. He draws the foul on Matthews. The umpire just explaining that to Audie Matthews as Mike Mackay's on the foul line.
And you see that Jeff Weeks, the referee there, is very, very consistent, because that was exactly the same situation at the other end when Tiny Pinder took the drive to the basket, and the defensive foul was called on Peter Eli. So you can't be too critical when you pick up one at one end of the floor and it comes back the other way at the other end. Pinder with a rebound. Strong rebounder, Tiny Pinder. And the reason his nickname is Tiny, that as a young boy, he was very small. But he's grown up to be 6'9". But the name stuck as Forrester goes all the way through. Bill Jones attempting to block the shot and does a good job.
As you can see now, as the shot goes up, the
36 is into offence. There's Raymond Wood, and it's good.
Hasn't he been a tremendous player for both West Adelaide, the 36ers, South Australia? He's been around a long, long time, Raymond Wood. There's plenty of talk that it may be his final year, and wouldn't it be just fitting for the 36ers to win the title? I know it's early in the season, but Wood has given South Australian basketball so much. As we see the Sonics put it through the basket, but there is no basket, as the infringement was called early, the foul, and it will be a West End 36ers ball from the sideline. The 36ers leading now 30-16.
And that foul was called on Pinder once again, away from the ball, and the referee picked up that elbow that was thrown in the middle of the keyway.
Well, I suppose if they're going to talk about him being a roughneck, it can only happen that the referees are going to look for him, and if they get him early as Bill Jones travels, and unfortunately the Sonics will take control, but if they're watching for Pinder and he tries anything untoward, well, he'll be out of the game, and it's as simple as that. But at the same time, the Sonics have got plenty of depth in their side. As Matthews has the ball, drives. Jones does get his fingers to it.
That was a lovely drive by Matthews, but he was just intimidated there by Jones, and Ian Turner decides that he was too close to the action, couldn't see what happened, not prepared to make a decision, so we see a jump ball. A jump ball between Pinder and Jones. And that'll be a re-jump. No, he's caught a violation. One of the Supersonics jumped into the circle before the ball was tipped. So the 36ers run into offence through Spear to Raymond Wood. There's the screen that was set. Hand off back to Eli.
The 36ers' use of the ball so far has been excellent as Spear sends it right over to Jones with a lovely hook shot, just puts it through the basketball. And once again you see the depth in the 36ers. They've got three players not normally in the starting five who really are doing a tremendous job out there.
Yes, the guards especially are able to be substituted freely, and they're all very good scorers from the top. They all control the ball fairly well, and we see some frustration now from Pinder. That was just a bad hook shot. That was a wrong time to take that shot. So the Supersonics are not looking settled at all. Frustration creeping in, and if they keep taking bad shots and the 36ers keep blocking out as well as they have, they'll get a lot more possessions and even take a bigger charge of this game.
I'm sure Tiny Pinder would have been angry with himself at taking that shot. It wasn't a percentage shot, as David Spear almost makes the pass, eventually lands in Bill Jones's lap, and he just flicks it in. I mean, Bill Jones isn't a small man by any means. He's 6'9" himself and playing an outstanding game so far for the 36ers. A foot violation there called against the 36ers, so the Sydney side will take it from the side.
So it's Matthews to throw the ball in. Screen set. Forrester hands off to Murphy. Murphy's up for a jump shot. Matthews, I'm sorry, up for the jump shot. And Mike Mackay brings the ball down. The fast break's not on, so they'll set up the offence, make these guards work across the top. Here's the screen from Eli. Raymond Wood takes it, up for the shot, and that's good. And that's what we were saying earlier, Andrew. Peter Eli sits that good screen at the top, and unless those Sydney guards are prepared to fight their way through the screen, the Sixers guards will get free, and they'll make a very good percentage shot there.
Keep up and help on the defense the way it is. If you cannot get hold of that ball, knock it away like an orange at the top. You're getting caught up and moved on. Can't get it. Throw yourself on it if necessary, okay? Offense. Hey. We've only got 3 fouls, so we're not in bonus. You can afford to play real good deep. If the man looks to go past you, quick foul going after the ball, okay? Make him take it out again. You've got a foul. You've got 1 foul if we need to use it. So the man goes to penetrate by you and you're worried. Other than you, Billy, have a go after the ball and try and knock it onto another man. And then
just 27 seconds to go. In the first quarter, the West End 36ers leading well.
And the Sixers up on a full court press for the remainder of this quarter. Peter Ilo will stand right up against the inbounding player. Forrester receives the ball, chased by Spear. Switch off there by Mike Mackay, and almost pulled off the steal. Very good teamwork, Mike Mackay. Saw that young David Spear was beaten, left his man to come across and cut off the pass.
He's wearing a knee band, Mike Mackay. Of course, he had a bad injury last year, but it hasn't halted any of his performance so far tonight. He's jumping as high as ever and doing a tremendous job out there for the 36ers as Pinder takes the shot. Gets a lucky bounce and scores 2 points. That brings them to 18, the Supersonics, trailing the West End 36ers 36. Just 5 seconds remaining as Wood passes off to Jones. Up and over the top. Great play from Ray Wood. And at quarter time, the West End 36ers 38. You see the great work here from Ray Wood. Just the little pass at the end. Jones waits, bang, up 2 points. No question about it. Great first quarter by the 36ers.
West End 36ers, Adelaide's own team, leading by 20 points against the Sydney Supersonics, and that deficit is immediately reduced by 2 to 18 as Tiny Pinder brings the ball away from the tip and scores a nice easy jump shot from the foul line.
Well, I'm sure Owen Wells would have had plenty to say to his Chargers at the quarter-time break, because they really haven't played well in the first quarter. He now has the 4 Black Americans on the court, as well as Zoran Zunic. As Davis loses the ball up, and Zunic takes it, and now sends the Sonics forward again. He's looking across the court all the time for Audie Matthews, but again comes to the top of the key. Pearce guarding him closely. Pinder calls for it. Won't surprise to see him drive, but no, he goes for the pass, but it was a bad call there by Audie Matthews, and the 36ers have possession.
Kurt Forrester really made good position there. He spun, held his defensive play with his behind, but the ball just didn't get past as well as it should. There's the give and go, that screen that's set at the top. Hands foul not called as Kurt Forrester comes away with the ball, throws it across to Zunic, and the Supersonics are inside there to Pinder with a turnaround jump shot. Strong rebound by Davis, loses the ball off of hands, and it's a jump ball being called.
Well, a couple of early mistakes by the 36ers early in this second quarter, and let's hope that doesn't set in. They've had a couple of easy gives and lost control. Davis still hasn't lost it here. He's in on a jump ball against Tiny Pinder.
The 36ers have been playing really good defence. In fact, Sydney have only hit 45% from the floor, which is indicative of how good the 36ers defence has been, and very poor shot selection being forced on the Sydney team. And conversely, the Sixers are shooting very well. They've hit 79% from the floor in that first quarter. Bill Jones, there's the handoff to Al Green, and 3 seconds is being called on Mark Davis, camping in the keyway for too long. So that's a let-off for the Supersonics as they bring the ball down into offence through Zunic. Pinder inside there to Matthews, turnaround jump shot. That's got to be 3 seconds, but it's not called. And underneath is Polk with an offensive rebound and banks it off the board for 2. And that takes the Sydney team to 22 points, trailing the 36ers 38. Al Green on the drive, spins. The defence dropped dead. Davis lost the ball, but it's off feet, and it'll be the 36ers ball from the side.
Vinny, you're surprised that Al Green has been relatively quiet so far in this game?
Well, Green, of course, has only just come back into the team as Mike Mackay shoots from outside. Davis, a strong rebound, back to Pearce, hand off to Billy Jones, who shoots and makes 2. Al Green was training for the Commonwealth Games and didn't qualify. So he's back training for basketball, and his basketball training, of course, is different to what he does for his athletics. But he's now back in the team, and he will become a much more valuable part of the team as he was last year once he gets a couple of games under his belt, and, of course, all the regular basketball training that Coach Ken Cole will have him doing.
And Jeff Weeks calls 3 seconds there on the Sonics as Mike Mackay palms the ball off to Jones. Pearce at the top of the key makes the shot. Not successful. Green goes in for the rebound, but it's grabbed first by Kurt Forrester. Palms off to Zunic. Zunic looks
inside to Pinder. Foul's been called.
You see there the pass goes into Tiny Pinder. Mark Davis just put the body there but got too close, wasn't stationary, and Tiny Pinder would go to the foul line.
Yeah, that's a bad call by the referee. Mark Davis did everything right, held his arms straight up in the air, and the referee, as you saw, called the hands foul, and clearly there was no contact, so that was just a bad call. But Tiny Pinder makes the bonus, and the Sixers regain possession into offence, and it's Sydney 25 points, trailing the 36ers 40. Darryl Pearce off the screen by Davis. There's the roll-off. Raymond Wood.
The Sonics making a bit of a play now at the 36ers. They've come back well so far in this second quarter. We're only some 3 minutes into the quarter as Pearce is trying to direct play. Calls are coming, all sorts of calls coming from the 36ers bench as Pearce has it again. He has to go for the push shot. Not a real good shot. He gets the rebound, palms out to Mark Davis at the top of the key. And now it's Ray Wood to set it up all over again. Passes off to Green, to Davis. Sees Pearce at the bottom, but the big 7-foot player from Sydney, Derek Polk, gets his hand to the ball and forces it out of play.
So it's Raymond Wood to Al Green. Back to Wood, guarded there by Pinder. And Raymond Wood having a look at where the ball's going to go. And this zone that Sydney have now gone into to try and stifle the free space that the guards were getting, made the offence work. But to break up the zone, all you have to do is throw the ball around, which the 36ers did, and the ball went inside there. Bill Jones made a relatively easy shot.
It's one of the beauties of this 36ers team. They're not scared to change their game to suit the style, and they can do anything that any other team in this competition can.
Polk with a left-hand hook shot, guarded well by Billy Jones, but Tiny Pinder makes the 10-foot jump shot.
Pinder really starting to come into the game now. Certainly a fantastic scorer for the Sonics last year. And a great rebounder as well as Davis gets the chance to drive. Palms off to Jones. No mistake. 2 points to the 36ers. They lead 44 now to the Sydney Supersonics 27.
It was a nice move, Mark Davis. Received the ball, took the dribble, drew the defence and just dropped it across to Billy Jones, who did all the right things, rolling to the basket. Here's the fast break. Bill Jones with the ball. Al Green at 3-on-2 if they want it. So it's Green with a jump shot, and it's good. And Al Green knew that he could take that shot with a security blanket of Mark Davis and Bill Jones underneath on the off chance that he missed that shot.
Well, certainly Al Green's 2 points, but again, because he started it all in the Sonics offence, and he just pushed the ball forward and then followed it up as Polk takes the shot, misses. Davis the rebound, out to Pearce. Decides to go for the three-pointer, misses.
Polk with the rebound. Zunic, that's a charge. It's got to be a charge, yes. That's good defence, Raymond Wood. He knew what was going to happen. Look at the way he posts up, sees Zunic change position, and Raymond Wood knew what was coming, lots of experience, and took the charge. Screen being set by Davis as Pearce goes all the way through. Davis rolls off, Raywood, and it's Green. As Raywood controls the ball in the guard spot to Jones. He'll take that jump shot off the board. And that's 2 more points to Billy Jones. And it's 48 to the 36ers, 27 to the Sydney team.
The Sonics have made another change. Scott Fenton comes back into the game. Wood guarding him closely. Palms off to Tiny Pinder. He looks for Polk. He drives in, but Jones sends the ball straight out of court. The Sonics keep control.
That's a great block by Bill Jones. This 7-foot player, number 12, is Derek Polk for the Sydney team. He doesn't seem to be the threat that one would expect from somebody that big. Bill Jones doing a great job defensively.
So we haven't seen a lot of Polk. Scott Fenton drives to the top of the key, palms the ball off to Wayne Burden, who goes for the shot, misses. The ball comes off Mark Davis, and Tiny Pinder will take it from the side. That call really could have gone either way as well, Lynn.
There's Pinder coming from behind. It's unusual for the ball to be called that way. Sets the screen now, Pinder for Burden. There's Polk. That was a travel that was not called. And 2 points. And the referee very slow. He's called no basket. What should have happened was a basket infringement, and the first shot should have counted. But the referees ignore that, and they're saying it's basket tending. So that's a bonus for the 36ers.
fairly courageous call by Jeff Weeks, but there wouldn't be one person in this crowd bar the Supersonics bench who didn't like the decision as Pinder makes the steal, tries to go all the way. It's knocked out of court by, well, take your pick. It could have been Mark Davis, it could have been Bill Jones. They both seem to get their hands to the ball.
What a fantastic reject, Bill Jones. Look at that. He got right up in the air, and that's going to intimidate. Coach Owen Wills for the Supersonics is on the floor saying, hey, the ball was on its downward flight. That's basket tending. But the referees are not having a bar of that. And that'll really make it harder for the Supersonics to take some shots, being intimidated as they are in there. But as I say that, young Scott Fenton takes a drive, and he's fouled. The basket is good, so he gets the bonus shot from the foul line.
36 is leading by 19 points now. We have just over 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Scott Fenton at the foul line now for the Sydney Supersonics, going for the bonus shot. This is the shot, but unfortunately, or fortunately for Sydney, Pinder got his hand to it with Davis and put it away for 2 points. The 36 is 48, Sydney Supersonics 31.
Yes, Pinder's starting to come into the game. He's very much a threat every time the Sydney team bring the ball down the floor. So a little bit of defence have to be picked up on Pinder, try and deny him the ball. Jones goes all the way, and that's a fine basket, Bill Jones. And you see Bill Jones, the 36ers centre, using the screen and driving all the way to the basket.
That's 20 points to Bill Jones. He didn't have to beat 1, 2 or 3 plays. He went all the way, almost beat the whole team on the way through. Great play, Bill Jones. 20 points for the game. Pinder got control, loses it, gets it again. Passes in now to Matthews. Matthews loses it. Pearce picks it up, and the 36ers are away again.
Al Green from outside. It's no good, but Ray Wood, the smallest player on the court, comes out with the ball. And there's Bill Jones free if they want to give it to him. Raymond Wood comes off the screen, takes the 2-point shot, and it's good. So the Sixers doing everything right. Bill Jones not only leading the scoring, but he's made 3 defensive blocks, and that really makes it hard for the offensive team because they're intimidated. They don't want to throw the ball inside and see it rejected by Billy Jones.
Well, we don't normally see Ray Wood on the court for this amount of time, but he's just done everything right tonight as Pinder picks up a rebound and puts it away to bring the Sydney Supersonics now to 33, trailing the West End 36ers 52 as Wood brings the ball down again, passes off to Pearce. He balks and now goes to his right, makes the 3-point shot and puts it straight through the bucket.
And while the 36ers are doing everything offensively, the last few times down the floor they've slackened off on defence. There's a foul called, and you see exactly what I'm saying there. The Sixers over the last couple of minutes have been doing it all down at the offensive end. They haven't been prepared to get back on defence, and it's given Sydney the opportunity. We see substitutions now. Raymond Wood has put in a fine contribution, leaves the floor, replaced by David Spear. And of course Mark Davis, who is just so strong on the boards, is replaced by Peter Alai. Now I think Peter Alai will still pick up Tiny Pinder, and I think you'll see Alai start to push Pinder around a little bit and try and deny him the ball, because if he hasn't got the ball, he can't make the shot.
I think Pinder's one of the most aggressive players I've seen around, and there was that incident a couple of weeks ago where he did put one of the players in hospital with a fractured jaw, and apparently it wasn't one of the nicer things you've seen. Unfortunately, it went unharmed by the referees as Alai stands at the top of the key, waiting to palm the ball off, gives it to Green. Green to Spear. Alai sets the screen. Not very effective. Pearce now has it outside to Green. Time clock ticking away. 10 seconds to go, and there's a foul call on Wayne Burden. It was a fairly blatant foul call on Burden as Pearce just got the shove in the back. It was a real rigid-edge football foul, that one. Spear takes the side ball.
The good thing about the Sixers offence is that they're all moving without the ball, so it makes the defence work hard. All the players are setting screens to try and encourage their teammates to get free, and that augurs well, and that's a happy team when everybody's doing all the work. David Spear with the ball, throws it all the way out to Al Green. Here's the screen by Alai. Green goes up for the 3-pointer, which is short, and Pinder with the ball. Long pass down to Polk, and that's shades of what we saw in the 1972 Munich Olympics when the Russians beat America by 2 points with that long pass.
Oh, lovely try.
Al Green all the way.
That's something this big crowd
That's a
is
charge.
used to, and there's a big charge on Tiny Pinder,
No.
but it hasn't been called. It's been called against Peter Alli, and much to the disgust of this capacity crowd here at Apollo, Pinder seemed to just get control of the ball. Alli seemed to be motionless, and he just crashed straight through him. And Alli is now taken out of the game. And we see for the first time tonight, Dwayne Nelson, number 20 for the West End 36ers. He's only been an Australian for about 8 days, naturalised Australian. As Pinder misses the first, and don't the crowd love it. It'll be interesting to see how Dwayne Nelson goes here now tonight. As Pinder goes for the second and misses again. Now that is a surprise, but he backs up well and controls his rebound with a one hand, and that really is great play by Pinder. It just shows the calibre of someone who has been playing for the Harlem Globetrotters. That was great work, mind you, a very individual effort, but it had to be for Tiny Pinder.
Daryl Pearce has to travel. Daryl Pearce jumped in the air looking to feed off, but Wayne McDaniel came on and turned his back on the ball, so Pearce had nowhere to pass the ball once he was in the air. So the travel's called. We got timeout to the 36ers, with Adelaide shooting 62% from the floor and the Sydney Supersonics shooting 35%.
And it's a Sonics ball now. They start to bring it into offence. Wayne Burden with the ball, Green guarding. They look for Pinder again. Pinder palms in to Polk. Polk turns and puts the ball up, and he misses. Bill Jones takes the rebound. Almost had the fast break. Green was well in control there, but the long pass goes across to Daryl Pearce instead from David Spear. Pearce looking back to Spear. Spear calling it from the top. Gives it to Al Green now. When Nelson sets up the screen. Spear shouldn't really shoot over the 7-footer. He thought about it. Pearce is free on the other side. Not a good shot from Nelson. He really had no chance on that as the ball comes out to Burden. Decides to go all the way. And that really is a good basket for Sydney. Burden.
Lovely move by Wayne Burden. Beautiful spin. Banked a nice touch shot off the backboard. And the 36ers in a little bit of foul trouble this quarter. They're into bonus already. Peter Alli's on 3. Sitting on the floor. Pass underneath. And
good work there from Daryl Pearce as he got the ball from outside the court to give it back. He misses the shot though.
Bill Jones with the ball. That's got to be a foul, but no, the referee says it's a jump ball.
Just shows you how much the Supersonics have lifted their game. They're only 16 points in arrears now, and at quarter time they were 18 points in arrears, so in fact they've outscored the West End 36ers. The West End 36ers seem to have dropped off a little in both offence and defence. There's certainly their percentage shooting from the floor has gone down quite remarkably as Jones wins the tap, but it goes straight to Derek Polk. Gives it to Burden. Burden with Green on him.
Burden goes all the way. And Al Green won't like that. He's got to get in front. Al Green saying that there's a foul, but that's not good defence. Al Green, you've got to get your body in the way.
I think the thing in favour of the 36ers is that they're still playing as a team, and whilst there's been some tremendous individual efforts from Sydney, they are playing as individuals as Pearce makes a well-earned shot from outside.
And certainly when Adelaide run their offence the way they are, they throw the ball around, somebody gets free, they look good in offence. And there goes Pinder. He's with 9 points, shooting 69% from the floor. Ray Wood gets free, and he'll put the ball in the hole every time from around that position if they don't come out and guard him. So Ray Wood pressuring Scott Fenton as Fenton brings the ball down the floor, and that's nearly a charge again. It's a bad shot, turn around, jump shot, and here's the fast break to Al Green with the ball. He'll draw the foul maybe, but no. Just a nice finger roll over the top. Al Green was looking for the foul as well so that he could pick up the bonus shot.
Well, it would take a much better player than Fenton to stop Al Green scoring one of those baskets.
There goes Pinder, up for another shot, right on the siren. So at half-time, it's the Adelaide West End 36ers 64, leading the Sydney Supersonics 43. sailing along nicely. 64, leading the Supersonics 43. Bill Jones for the 36ers, the captain of the team in the opening tip-off to start this second half. But it's Tiny Pinder, and those two boys have been the stars of the opening half, with Jones hitting 20 points, shooting 83% from the floor, as Matthews turns and hits for 2. Bill Jones hitting 83% from the floor, but 3 magnificent blocks, 2 steals, 2 rebounds and only 1 turnover, whilst Tiny Pinder has been doing it all for the Supersonics. He's hit 16 points as Davis goes all the way for 2.
Well,
6 turnovers, though, to Pinder, so a lot of the good work he's doing offensively is he's thrown the ball away, but he has made 3 assists.
Well, I suppose the people that were here last week in the pre-season game against Canberra would have been very disappointed, and there's a travel against Wayne Burden as the 36ers win possession. But as I was saying, they would have been disappointed in the third quarter played by the 36ers last week against Canberra, where that's where they lost the game. And Ken Cole is looking certainly not for a repeat of that. He started with his starting 5 here in the second half as 2 players go down and the ball comes out to Burden. He's looking to go all the way, but good defensive work from Mackay. Pinder balks and now takes the shot. And Davis does the usual and picks off the rebound. It'll be interesting to see here too how Davis's ankle comes up after cooling off during the half-time break. He has favoured it a couple of times. It certainly still played a very good game as Mackay goes through. The pass comes back to him. Lovely play by Mackay. Unfortunately, it doesn't bring off 2 points. And the 36ers retain possession, much to the disgust of Gavin Kelly.
So the Sixers into offence. Slow opening to this second half. Mike Mackay with the ball, throws it inside to Bill Jones with a nice hook shot. And that's good, and Tiny Pinder wouldn't like that.
And isn't that different to the hook shot that Tiny Pinder tried in the first half, where he really didn't have control? Bill Jones knew he only had one opponent to beat and made no mistake, and that takes Jones to 22 points.
Now it's Pinder outside with the ball. Bad pass again to Pinder.
Good work there from Mike Mackay in defence. Made the dive at the ball and the pass went astray. Al Green with the ball, been fairly quiet, but as Lynn said in the first half, he hasn't had much of a build-up. The pass, lovely pass off to Pearce. Davis unfortunately just tips the corner of the ring and the ball comes out to Wayne Burden. He stops for a 3-pointer, misses, with the rebound well rebounded by Zoran Zunic, and he hasn't been Sydney's worst player.
Solid player, Zunic, doesn't push the ball around, take a lot of bad shots or whatever, but he's just part of their team, a nice solid player as Mike Mackay takes a great drive, doesn't quite make it, and it's the Supersonics into offence. Wayne Burden throws the ball to Pinder. He's going to go, it's Matthews. He goes all the way, but the ball's out of court. A good block, good defence by the Sixers. Mike Mackay and Bill Jones both came in and swatted that shot. So it's the Supersonics. Burden will become a lot more offensive this half, I would think. He throws the ball into Pinder, and a great block there by Davis. It's a 3-on-2 fast break. Green will lay it up. No, he goes the other way, Mike Mackay, and threw the ball back out again to Daryl Pearce. And Daryl Pearce charged as he threw the ball back out to Mike Mackay. I thought the ball would go the other way, Andrew, because it was fairly obvious that Daryl Pearce was covered by the defence.
Yes, I thought the umpires seem to be just a little behind at the moment. Whilst they have done a good job a minute ago, there could have been a decision of basket tending as the pass goes in to Wayne Burden. He makes no mistake. And then, of course, that decision there. And so all of a sudden now there's another foul, this time called on Zoran Zunic. He was certainly moving. There won't be any complaint about that decision. He knew the foul was on him the second it was called. Mackay now takes it from the side, gives it back to Green. Jones calls for it inside, gives it back out to Daryl Pearce. Pearce sets, comes down to the ground.
Not called.
Pearce on Pinder.
Technical foul is now called on Jones.
You look here, Pinder goes for the shot and Jones grabs the ring and stays on the ring, nearly pulls it off its hinges.
Yeah, but the reason Jones held onto the ring was because Pinder, on the follow-through, landed right in front of where Jones was going to land. So Jones wasn't prepared to break a leg or an ankle, so he held onto the ring until Pinder got out of the way.
Slowly but steadily, the Supersonics seem to be coming back at the 36ers. Now, what's the referee doing here? He's calling for the 2 points, but in fact it didn't go through the basket, so he must be giving it as basket tending. Ken Cole asking the question of Jeff Weeks. Cole not happy with the decision. 2 words in that answer.
Now, Ian Turner not really sure what's happening here, so he's giving some explanations to Tiny Pinder. And Pinder is saying that they should have possession, but they're saying no, it was basket tending in the same play phase, so there'll only be 1 shot, and ball will be in play if it misses.
Unfortunately for Adelaide, it doesn't miss, and the Supersonics coming back at the West End 36ers now. The 36ers leading 68-52. They haven't started this 3rd quarter all that well. Was Daryl Pearce, lovely pass into Jones, lost it for a second, and there's a foul call. No basket. The foul called on Tiny Pinder, I believe. You see on the replay there, Pearce, a lovely pass in, and then Pinder sticks out his abdomen, and that's where the foul was called. Unfortunately, the ball went in and wasn't counted. Davis now with the ball. He goes in, shouldn't miss, takes the foul, and will go to the line for a bonus. And that's better play from the West End 36ers. When they drive, they've got to be 100% confident about doing it. Davis will go to the line.
Yeah, that's a foul on Murphy. As Davis went all the way, he's so strong on his way to the boards. And Davis currently with 9 points.
Certainly not one of his best games, but then, as we've been saying all game, he has been suffering from a severe ankle injury and has certainly earned his place in this side tonight. He's a tremendous player. As we see Zoran Zunic bring the ball down now, gives it to Pinder. He tries to go all the way and in fact succeeds. Jones, no chance of cutting that one off. And now the 36ers have possession as Mackay takes them into offence. Gives it off to Daryl Pearce. No screen, back to Mackay. Blocked there.
Good defence by the Supersonics. Gavin Kelly blocked the shot. Here's Wayne Burden. Back out there to Zunic. Pinder hotly guarded there, pressed over by Jones. The ball goes inside to Murphy, but a foul's called. No score. And the foul has been called.
All of a sudden, these Supersonics are taking time to set up their offence now. Before, it was just run and gun, with Pinder doing most of it. But now, without Polk on the court, the 7-foot centre, they have to do a little bit more work to set up the best shot they can because they're losing something in rebounds. This time, Pinder again misses. Jones picks off the rebound, gives it to Green. He passes out to Pearce for a big 3-pointer, and no mistake at that. A lovely shot from Daryl Pearce, didn't touch the sides and makes the 3-pointer.
That's 18 points to Daryl Pearce. Look at it,
Pearce stops, up she goes, doesn't touch the sides, and puts the net over the basket.
It's Murphy, guarded by Mike Mackay. 4th shot. There's been a foul called on Bill Jones for blocking out, and referee Week says that Jones gave a bit of a hip and shoulders there. So the ball will be from the side because it didn't affect the shooter. No. Well, here we go again. That's very surprising. Oh, they're in the bonus situation. That foul took the 36ers into the bonus situation, so Sydney will go to the line each time there's a foul.
And the 36ers getting ready to make a substitution. Ray Wood will be coming on shortly. Pinder takes the 2nd shot, and no mistake there, and he really has been the dominant player for the Sydney Supersonics tonight.
22 points to Pinder.
Green again with the ball, takes it into offence. Pearce uses the screen set by Davis. Lovely pass into Jones, and no mistake, just turns all in one action and puts the ball through the basket. And Bill Jones has really done the work of 2 men tonight. Mark Davis has spent some time off the court, and Jones has really done a tremendous job. He loses Pinder there. Pinder drives all the way. A foul called, this time on Mike Mackay. Not overly impressed with the call, I might add. But Ian Turner more than definite as Ken Cole about to put 2 players. Scoring fairly even this quarter, both teams shooting 50%. We've certainly seen the 36ers shoot at a higher percentage as Davis and Mike Mackay leave the court to a good reception. Mike Mackay hasn't had a lot of court time tonight, Lynn.
No, Mike Mackay started very well, but as you say, Coach Ken Cole has been keeping him out of the game a little bit, and perhaps Mike not quite as fit as perhaps he should be at this time of the season because he has been recovering from that knee injury. He hasn't been able to put in all the effort in the pre-season training that the rest of the team have been able to do.
I think at this stage of the season, with Mark Davis suffering an injury, Mackay out with an injury, Al Green not doing a lot of training, you would think that Ken Cole would be reasonably happy with the way things are going, knowing that the side should get a lot better.
Yes, although neither Ken Cole nor Al Green would be happy with that last shot that Al Green took. Wayne Burden with the ball. He'll step all the way in, and that's bad defence by the 36ers. Burden, you could see that he was going to take that step, move into the open spot and bank it off the board, and that's just bad defence as far as the Sixers are concerned. It's not a good quarter for the Sixers so far. They're not settled down into offence. There's some bad shots being taken. Pinder is starting to dominate at both ends of the floor. 2-on-1, fast break, Burden, and all of a sudden the Sydney Supersonics are getting back in this game. It's the 36ers 75 leading the Sydney team 62.
They've turned a 23-point deficit now into only a 13-point deficit. There's once again Al Green trying to get in there, but the 3 seconds has been called by umpire Ian Turner. You see here Green just looking for the shot. He's blocked everywhere he turns, and of course then the call came.
Himself, Raymond Wood comes away with the ball. Al Green picks it up on the second attempt, and it's the 36ers into offence.
Pierce now with the ball at the head of the key, gives it back to Al Green. As we've been saying, Green having a relatively quiet game, but still doing good work. An attempted steal there by the Sonics. In fact, it does come off. Some good work there in defence by the Sydney Supersonics. And Wayne Burden will now bring them into attack.
And the story of this quarter is that Sydney is still only shooting 45%, which is, they've been shooting 45-50 for the game. But Adelaide was 75% up to half-time, and their shooting percentages down to 42. So that indicates the defence has picked up. The 36ers haven't been taking the good shots that they were taking earlier.
And another foul called now on Bill Jones. That's getting close to danger proportions for the West End 36ers. That's his third foul. And Tiny Pinder goes to the foul line. Pinder, a prolific scorer for the Sydney Supersonics as he makes the first.
25 points to Pinder.
25 points to Pinder. Loves scoring points. Now 26 as Jones brings the ball in. Sydney dominating the rebounds this quarter. They have 7 compared to Adelaide's 3. As Lynn said, not a good quarter for the 36ers. They just haven't got it together like they did in the first quarter, which was probably their best, where they tallied up an 18-point lead. And Jones normally make that shot.
A good defence by Kelly, who came across to help out the big fellow. And there's a lovely slam dunk by Pinder, and that's his favourite shot.
And lovely work by Burden there. He's looking and he's looking. He can see Pinder down all on his own, and bang, no mistake from Pinder. Pinder 30 points now for this game. Green with the ball, back to Wood, back to Green. 2 bounces, waiting and looking. The 36ers need to control now. They've made some bad shots. 10 seconds on the shot clock. There was a pass there to Jones, but unfortunately caught the Sonics' foot. And again, the long pass. They're really opening the court out now, the Sonics.
Yes, the Sonics certainly a lot more controlled in their offensive movement, and you have the 36ers aren't putting the same pressure on their defensive players as they were in that first half. No denying of the ball. In fact, Peter Ayla is the only one stepping up on Pinder, and he's really trying to keep Pinder away from the ball as Matthews banks one off the boards for 2. And that takes the Sydney team to 68, trailing the West End 36ers 75. So there's only a few points in it now, Andrew.
Well, 7 points in it, and we've got a ball game on our hands. At half-time, we thought the West End 36ers were coasting with a 21-point lead, and all of a sudden it's down to just 7. They've hardly scored this quarter. Ray Wood now in the first half would have taken the shot. Pierce off, Ally. A rebound he normally wouldn't miss, and travel call.
That is a bad call. That is just such a bad call because the ball didn't move and the player didn't move his feet.
And Ally really didn't have control of it. It just flung his hand, and all of a sudden the travel called, and the crowd certainly didn't like it. Sydney would have loved it. Again, it's Burden trying to set it up.
Steal from Jones, and the 36ers are in their offense. It's 2-on-1. Green goes all the way for 2 points.
And that's something this crowd love to see, is Al Green going all the way to the basket. We've hardly seen it at all tonight. Green's been fairly quiet yet effective. But once, that's a confidence booster for him, and if he can pull a couple of those and Pierce can hit a couple of more 3-pointers, then the 36ers will be right on top once again. They need their confidence back. They know they had a bad third quarter last week. And a foul called this time against the Supersonics.
And what a great effort, Peter Adelaide. Chased that loose ball from right on the other side of the keyway, and the foul was called. Sixers get possession of the ball, and that gives the opportunity for coach Ken Cole to bring Mark Davis back into the game. And he, not sure who he's replacing. It's Bill Jones. Bill Jones is going out for a breather. Mark Davis comes in. So for the first time we see Adelaide and Davis on the floor together. Davis will probably pick up Pinder at the defensive end.
And Bill Jones certainly deserves a breather. He's played an outstanding game tonight. He's had to do a lot of hard work as well as do a lot of the scoring. Whilst, as we were saying about Al Green, he's only scored 2 points as Ally goes all the way. And you don't see him score too many points, but don't the crowd love it? Hasn't he been a great ambassador for South Australian basketball, Lynn?
Yes, a top player, local product, and certainly puts his heart and soul into every game he plays. And here he is guarding a 7-foot player. Peter's only about 6'5", 6'6" himself, but he's a very physical player as Peter Adelaide, as Derek Pogg makes the 2 points on that occasion. And it's Al Green with the ball, and it's 79 to 70. There's 9 points in it as Ray Wood comes off the screen set by Davis, and the Sixers guards not hitting the same percentage that they were from the top. So they're setting up their offense and running it now as there's the screen. Ray Woods throws the ball all the way across to Darryl Pearce. So they've turned it all the way over. Pearce up for the shot, and it's good. And that's a confident booster for Darryl Pearce. That takes him to 20 points, and Darryl needed that one. He's missed the last 3 or 4 three-point attempts that he's taken.
That's just what the 36ers need now, that fast break from Al Green, a three-pointer from Darryl Pearce. And for Sydney to miss a whole lot more, but Pinder pulls a lovely rebound but misses the shot. Was picked up again by Matthews. He goes with an up and over, and Pinder, a huge rebound, follows up and makes 2 points. And he really is keeping the Supersonics in this game as the West End 36ers lead 81 to 72.
And the Sonics are just jumping all over the 36ers defence. Sixers really have to put an effort into blocking out, and if they're going to get hit, they've got to do it so that the foul is called.
Tiny Pinder now 32 points for the game, but what we've seen this quarter more than any is just how dominant the Sydney side's height is as Peter Alai is hit with a charging foul.
Now, I don't believe that was a foul. Alai goes all the way down the middle. The opening's there. Alai is in the air when the defensive player Kelly gets across, so that's another bad call by the referees.
It's certainly a hard game for the referees to umpire, particularly inside the key, because they can't see too much in there, they're so small. 4 fouls now, Peter Alai, as the 36ers win control.
And that's another turnover to Pinder, but Polk had glass hands that time. Pearce going to his left, up for the shot, and a lovely controlled jump shot. And that's a shot you don't see very often from Darryl Pearce. He doesn't like to drive to his left very often, and the defence has been overplaying him, so he went the other way just to make him play honestly.
Well, you can take you back to your playing days, Lynn, and that shot is reminiscent of the great Dr. Werner Lynn.
Yes, Werner certainly was a very classic player and a very good player at his time. So both teams in bonus. The foul is being called.
Scott Fenton on the foul line now for the Sydney Supersonics. They're trailing, but coming back at the West End 36ers. Fenton makes the first and now takes a bonus. Fenton hasn't been a bad player for the Supersonics tonight. Not all that tall. In fact, he's only just over 6 foot. The crowd not happy with that call by Ian Turner, and Fenton's going to get another one.
Ian Turner making his presence felt. I can't believe that sort of call. Everybody gets in as the ball hits the ring, and even Pinder was of the impression that it should have been play on.
They won't take that one off the 36ers now. Ray Wood in control of the ball.
So it's 10 points in favour of the 36ers. 83-73 as Green goes up for the shot. Bad shot, Al Green. And Pinder comes away on the fast break. Darryl Pearce looking to take the charge. Pinder's hassled there, throws the ball off to Polk, and Polk hits a good percentage from around about the 10 feet mark.
And Darryl Pearce tries for the shot from centre just before the three-quarter time whistle. Hits the ring and just misses at three-quarter time. The score's West End 36ers 83, Sydney Supersonics 75.
The worst thing that could happen is
remaining. It's the Adelaide 36ers by 8 points. And this game is going to go all the way down the wire. The Supersonics have really done a job in that third quarter on defence, forcing some bad shots by the Sixers. But Davis goes all the way, misses a sitter. And the Sonics are into offence. But, Andrew, they really did do a good job in defence in that quarter.
The longer this game goes, Lynn, the better the Supersonics are looking. Their confidence at the moment is sky high. Sure, they're still trailing, but they were trailing by well over 20 points. Now they're only trailing by 8. So they've really come back with a force. They've out-rebounded the Adelaide 36ers in that third quarter and did a hell of a job of it. Green palms off to Ally.
Well, I think at that third quarter break, the respective coaches would have been giving the instructions, and Darryl Pearce makes a great basket despite getting hit in the face by Scott Fenton. And I think the instructions would have been from Ken Cole, throw the ball around, be patient in your offence, don't throw up the bad shots. And for at the other end, I think the Coach Owen Wells would have been saying, play good, hard defence and don't be silly. And technical foul as Tiny Pinder went up on the ring. Look at that, he holds onto the ring, so it's a technical foul, and he can't complain because the tech foul was called earlier on Bill Jones.
Pinder hasn't even bothered to get off the ground, wondering whether he in fact has injured his ankle or is calling a timeout. He likes to rule this Sydney team. He's just looking a little annoyed at the moment as Darryl Pearce goes to the free throw line. We have a little dog loose in the stadium. It is going to its seat up at the back. Pearce makes the first.
So that's 26 points to Darryl Pearce.
He really has improved. He started relatively quietly, missed a few shots that he'd normally make, but he's coming into his own now and takes him to 27. And the West End 36ers increase that lead now to 13 points, 88-75.
That tech foul on Pinder, that really hurt the Sydney team because they're really coming home strong as Polk goes up for the shot, which is blocked. Bill Jones, a good job on defence again. And that's the sort of thing that really hurts the team when they're just fighting back and somebody in the team does something silly.
Not a very good pass there from Peter Ally. Just caught the tips of Al Green's fingers, but he didn't have much chance of controlling it, and Ally would be very disappointed with his own effort at that pass.
Yes, no team needs to take a lot of risks at this point in time, and Polk with a rebound and scores another 2 points.
Polk's done some good work for the Supersonics tonight, but then anyone who's 7 foot should do a lot of good work. Bill Jones now with the ball, looking to pass out, decides to go it alone, puts the shot up. And again, the Sydney Supersonics win possession of the ball off Al Green's hands. Fenton gives the ball to Burden, gives it back to Fenton. And he'll be looking to set it up again. Into Pinder, just one action, turns, and 2 points. The crowd relatively quiet tonight, Lynn.
Yes, I think that as far as the crowd's reaction's concerned, they've been fairly vocal on a couple of occasions, but certainly when the Supersonics are in possession of the ball, they're fairly quiet. Very parochial home crowd, but this will bring a roar from the crowd as Bill Jones makes 2 points. That's a nice move by Peter Ally, unlucky not to make the basket, but Bill Jones is doing really well.
They're still always backing up the 36ers. That's what I like about this side. If one man fails, there's always someone there to finish it off.
Murphy, Polk up for the banks the shot again, and Polk is very effective, not only underneath the basket, but around the 10 feet mark. I was going to say earlier that Mark Davis, after a sensational opening, has been fairly quiet, and I suspect that the ankle is probably giving him quite a few problems, but he's not really sort of obviously favouring the leg.
No, well, I don't think he's going to show the Sydney players anything. If it is hurting him, he's certainly not going to show it and let them know that they've got his measure. He's still doing some good work under the boards, and both offensively and defensively.
There's a mismatch here. Ray Wood has got Big Polk guarding him, so Ray Wood will take Big Polk away from the basket. But no, there's the switch, and Murphy's picked up Ray Wood now.
Now Green with the ball now. Davis calling for it.
Oh, nice spin by Davis, but Polk, good defence. There's only a few seconds left on the shot clock as Darryl Pearce throws one up, and Pinder, with a second effort, pulls down a strong defensive rebound. So the score is 90 to the Adelaide West End 36ers, leading the Supersonics by 9 points, 81. As Polk with a turnaround jump shot, and gee, he's hit 4 in a row. So that's 83 to the Sydney team, trailing the Adelaide West End 36ers on 90.
And you can see now the dominance of the Sydney big men when you look at the rebound. Sydney leading 32, and a bad pass there from Davis to Green, and it's just stolen straight out of his hands as Burden decides to go all the way. Misses with the first. Pinder can't make the rebound, and Pearce, the second smallest bloke on the court, takes the ball. Wood's there for the pass. Goes up and under and out again, and the 36ers will set it up. Some lovely work from Daryl Pearce there to send the ball down to Green.
And
Bill
very
Jones.
smart by Ray Wood to bring the ball out. He was in there in the forest. He wasn't going to be able to get the shot away. And I think Davis is going to grab the ball and score. But up he goes to the shot, and Pinder has been hit with a foul. Davis was always going to get that ball.
Matthews wouldn't have liked that. He had control of the ball, and as he decided to come up, Davis just took it out of his hands, and then on the way through he was fouled. So Davis now will take the shots. And these shots fairly important to the West End 36ers. They're leading, but only by 7 points now. They've dropped off remarkably since the first quarter, which was a fantastic opening for them. Fitness is told on a couple of players. Davis misses with the first, and the crowd Oz likewise. And let's hope for the crowd here that he can make the second. Davis again, no mistake there. And it's now an 8-point lead to the West End 36ers as Fenton once again brings the ball down. He's done some good work for Sydney tonight.
He's been very reliable as Polk and Jones in battle in the low post there. Very physical contest between those two players.
And an obvious foul missed there by the umpires. Tiny Pinder just grabbed Ray Wood in the face, and they just let it go. Wood being not close to 6 foot, and Tiny Pinder at 6'8", bit of a mismatch. As Burden drives all the way, misses a sitter. Jones the rebound, gives it to Green, and the 36ers are away.
Strong rebound, Bill Jones, and that's just what the Sixers needed then. Bill Jones playing a magnificent game tonight for the West End 36ers. Scoring, he scored well over 20 points. He's taken a lot of rebounds, and he's doing everything to help out his teammates on defence. And the foul has been called on Audie Matthews. So Ray Wood, possession to inbound the ball for the 36ers. Al Green. Daryl Pearce is free. Daryl Pearce wants the ball on the other side foul line as Raymond Wood throws up the shot, and it's good.
Sold a lovely dummy there, Ray Wood, and he really is one of the old stages of this game. He's been around for a long, long time, and very rarely will you see Ray take a shot when he's not 90% sure of making it.
Audie Matthews hits a nice 15-footer.
Matthews still in good form tonight, although he is in foul trouble now on 4 fouls. Pearce was free, but Matthews comes out to meet him, and a bad pass back looking for Davis, intercepted by Fenton, and the Sonics are away again. Tiny Pinder calling for it, but the ball wouldn't come. Burden takes the shot and makes the shot, and now she's only a 5-point game. West End 36ers 93, Sydney 88, and the crowd will want to get right behind the 36ers if they want to get out of this with 2 points. Pearce goes for the 3-pointer, misses. Ball out of court and called in the West End 36ers' favour.
All the Sydney team pointing in the opposite direction. Raymond Wood with the ball. Pinder posts up Jones so the ball can't go in. Ray Wood drives and hands off. Up goes Davis from outside, and it's good.
He's not doing great work right under the basket. It'll be 10 feet out and still make the points. Just shows the real value of Mark Davis, an out-and-out champion, one of the best players ever to play in South Australia.
But Davis obviously favoured his ankle with that shot. When he landed, he came down on one shot, 1 foot. But Bill Jones and Ray Wood with the ball. It's a 2-on-1 fast break if they want it. Al Green, but the pass wasn't quite good. The Supersonics got a touch to it, and it's the 36ers ball from the side.
Al Green just seemed to slip a little there. You can see he's rubbing the court with his foot, but the 36ers haven't lost possession. It'll be Ray Wood to take it from the sideline. Out to Pearce. 36ers now 7 points up. Pearce looking for the shot, goes all the way. The pass out to Jones. Jones wasn't ready. Flung out the left hand.
And Daryl Pearce has made that error a couple of times tonight. He's forced the pass by going up in the air for the shot. The shot's been covered, and Daryl's been forced to throw the pass, and a couple of times the pass hasn't been good.
Okay.
Minutes and 44 seconds remaining in this game. It's Adelaide West End 36ers 95 leading the Sydney Supersonics 88 as Wayne Burden runs the offence for the Sydney team. That's Matthews with the ball, looking to throw the ball inside the pock, and Bill Jones is posting up. And here's Al Green with the speed. He'll go all the way with that left hand and lay the ball up, but he's missed it. Spins, and the foul is being called, and it's a holding foul on the defence as Al Green uses his experience, leans on the player.
You see Green there just getting the rebound now, and as he tries to turn, Burden still moving and just goes to the ground. He doesn't believe the call, but that's the way it's gone. And Burden now with 3 fouls. The West End 36ers will take the ball from the side.
Burden just spread the knees a little bit too wide, and so it was a holding foul. But the Sixers will look for a good shot. They'll run the offence. They haven't shot a good percentage this half. It's only 40%. As Mark Davis works well with his back to the basket. No defence there from the Supersonics.
One-on-one, there'd be very few players in the national basketball that could beat Mark Davis. Burden now with the ball, gives it to Zunic. Zunic had the screen, looks inside for Pinder, but comes out with it himself and makes the basket. Good play there from Zoran Zunic.
Yeah, tough basket to make, off balance, and threw the ball up, and through it went. So it's 90 to the Sydney team, trailing 97 to the 36ers. And a lot of errors in this game, both teams with 14 turnovers for the match so far. As Bill Jones spins off the boards.
Oh, lovely work from Bill Jones. He had to beat a 7-foot player and had no trouble at all. He got off the ground and Polk just stayed there. Jones went over the top for 2 points. West End 36ers lead by 9.
That's a lovely shot for Bill Jones. Just banks it softly off the backboard. Burden looking to throw it inside the Polk, and Jones blocks out. Davis, here's a fast break. And Green goes all the way.
Not too many of those Al Green will miss. He didn't go for the big slam dunk. He just made sure of the basket, took it nice and easy, laid it up and put it in. And they're ready to do it again. It's 3-on-2. Al Green all the way fouled, thrown out of court by Wayne Burden, and I think that's 4 for Wayne Burden.
So the score's now 101 to the West End 36ers, leading 90 to the Sydney Supersonics. And with only 2 minutes 53 to go, the 36ers have shown a bit of extra speed. They've started to put on a bit of pressure. They're running hard into offence, making the Sydney team run back with them. And the Sydney team are on the road, of course, on their way back from Perth last night, where they beat Perth 99 to 91. So superior fitness to the 36ers should tell in these closing few minutes of the game to enable them to hold on to this lead.
They shouldn't have any trouble doing it, Lynn, as Green takes the second shot, makes no mistake. It's 103 now to 90, so that gives the 36ers a touch of breathing space. But 2 minutes 52 seconds to go, as we see Kurt Forrester back on the court now with the ball. Gives it off to Audie Matthews. Matthews in with the foul called on Mark Davis, as he just used the hip to move Pinder out. I don't know what Pinder's complaining about. They drew the foul.
Pinder thought that he'd received the ball in a good position to spin. He was about to spin on that baseline for the easy layup. So Davis holding him out. Pinder with the ball. Zunic. There's Pinder. He'll look for the shot. There's the spin. Goes all the way, but rejected again by Bill Jones as Al Green goes to the left hand. No foul called. Saying that it touched, Kurt Forrester says he just touched the ball and Green threw it out. But I'd say Forrester was lucky that the foul wasn't actually called.
Al Green not exercising those fast breaks with the confidence we're used to, but still now there's a lovely pass from Raywood to Davis, Davis to Jones, 2 points, and the 36ers, when they play that controlled ball, they look 100%, don't they?
Well, both these centre players are working very well together. Coach Ken Kohler's got the high post, low post working very well, and whether it's Davis and Jones, as there is another swat, or Eli and Davis, or Eli and Jones, or whatever combination, they're doing very well.
Another foul called on Davis there. You can see him just gets the body in. It looked a pretty fair block to me, but Davis has picked up his 5th foul. A tremendous game for someone who was very, very doubtful at the beginning of this game, as we've been saying all night. He has been suffering from a severe ankle injury as a result of a practice match some 4 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I've been corrected, and Davis is out of the game, but gee, has played a tremendous game as Pinder scores with his first shot. 105 to 91. The West End 36ers leading with 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Pinder makes the second. Peter Allo will take it in and give it to Ray Wood.
So into offence, the 36ers, looking for a good shot. Screen, good switch there. Kurt Forrester came out onto Raymond Wood. Raymond Wood just controls the ball as Darryl Pearce comes across to his favourite spot at the top of the key. There should be a mismatch there somewhere. No, they switch back as Raymond Wood controls the ball. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Ray Wood controlling the ball. Darryl Pearce fires one up, just short. Peter Aloy will pick the ball up, but no, it's off his foot, and it's the Supersonics into offence. The referee says, come back here. We'll take the ball back at the centre line. Thanks very much.
You could see there that Sydney were just forcing all the Adelaide players forward, so they couldn't get a shot away, and in the end it really was a shot, not a percentage shot from Darryl Pearce. He was running out of time and put the ball up, but didn't have the results he was looking for. Now as Zoran Zunic takes the ball, gives it to Pinder. Pinder inside to Forrester, and another foul call.
Well, see, what's happening now is that the big guys of the Supersonics are camping inside the key, and the coach Ken Cole is saying that they're in there for longer than the 3 seconds, and the 36ers are sort of pushing them out of the way because unfair advantage being in under the basket for that long.
Well, you would think the West End 36ers shouldn't lose this game now. They're leading 105 to 92. I don't think our new scoreboard has got a 0, Lynn.
There seems to be some confusion there with the time, which is now being adjusted, which is the reason that the game has stopped. So it's the new scoreboard tonight. Certainly all the information is up there, all the player information, and the sponsors all get a fair share of their advertising content as well.
I think it's been great the way that the 36ers hit their straps early, got a big lead, and all of a sudden she was down to a 5-point ball game, and then they put on the pressure, they started to move the ball around, made the special shots, made the percentage baskets, and all of a sudden they've got back to a 13-point lead, and with just under a minute and a half to go, shouldn't lose this game. Jones up for the big rebound, important rebound. Green wants it on his own. There's a pass, Allies there, but Green will go all the way. Ally for the tap in and makes it, and the crowd love it.
Full marks there, Peter Aloy, and a good effort from Green to get the ball off. But there's Polk again, and that man is very strong, a very good percentage shooter from around that keyway area, the top of the foul line.
I think as the season goes on, we're going to see Polk get better and better as he gets used to the Australian way of basketball, even though it is dominated by a lot of American players. But he's shown enough tonight. He's shown plenty that he's going to be a very valuable player for the Sydney Supersonics.
Well, the fine thing about the Supersonics is the way that they lifted their defence after that first quarter. They've really done a good job on defence and made the Sixers take some shots that perhaps they didn't want to take. And that's the thing that got them back into the game, was their strong defences. Matthews just going to go all the way to the basket.
Oh, good work, Pearce.
Good defence by Pearce, but Audie Matthews did well. And with only 22 seconds left to play, it's 107 to the 36ers, leading 96 to the Supersonics as Pinder comes over the top, picked up again though by Ray Wood. And Darryl Pearce takes the ball out. They're not going to throw up a bad shot now and give the Sonics a chance to get back in the game.
The 36ers just guaranteeing the 2 points as the crowd count the time clock down. There's the end of the game, and the West End 36ers win their first game, 107 to 96, and it's the first time tonight we've really seen the crowd go wild.
Superb effort from the 36ers captain, Bill Jones. I thought his effort was fantastic. He scored very well. He took a lot of rebounds and really brought his teammates into the game. And, of course, Tiny Pinder was always there for the Supersonics.
Yes, Tiny Pinder tried to do probably a little bit too much for the Supersonics. Whilst we all know he's an outstanding player, there were numerous occasions where he had players clear in better positions than he was. Mind you, he did score heavily, but the West End 36ers, as long as they play that team game, they'll win more games than they lose.
In the NBL, who's the only South Australian team? Who's your team?
Adelaide, West End 36ers. Your team.
They're playing for all South Australians. They're playing for you, so support them. The 36ers. Watch them win on Channel 10. See them live at their home games at the Apollo. Fantastic action. Support them.
Adelaide, West End 36ers. Your team.
For a capacity crowd of 3,000 people at Apollo Stadium, the 36ers played a hard game and totally dominated the first quarter of play. Coach Owen Wells' decision to move Tiny Pinder onto Bill Jones at half-time curtailed what had been a threatening second quarter display by Jones, who had notched up 20 points against the Sydney Supersonics. 36ers forward Mark Davis played well despite his recent ankle injury and grabbed 10 rebounds with a score of 16 points. Bill Jones scored 30 at 83%, with Al Green 14 points at 42% and Ray Wood 10 points at 71%. A tight finish for the 36ers, but I'm sure Ken Cole would be more than happy with the outcome. Let's now join Andrew Kay and Lynn Parnell talking to coaches Ken Cole and Owen Wells.
Ken, just the start of the season, you wanted a win in the first home game.
Yeah, it was a tough game. I thought Sydney played very well, and I thought our guys stuck at their task well with Mark, shuffling around a little bit out there. But no, it was a good first-up game, good for the crowd.
What about the game by Bill Jones? He did a tremendous job both defensively and offensively.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a tremendous season from Bill. He's just starting to play somewhere near his potential. He's doing extremely well, and I think he'll have an excellent season.
And next week, Ken?
Next week's Hobart, and Hobart have got 3 very good Americans now and a good American coach, and have made a lot of improvement. They beat Sydney comfortably down there in the playoff game in Hobart, so I think we can look forward to another fairly torrid game.
Owen Wells, coach of the Sydney Supersonics. Owen, I thought the Sonics did really well in defence, but offensively perhaps a little bit disorganised on occasion.
On occasions we were disorganised. I think a lot had to do because we were fatigued mentally and physically from last night. A couple other factors, helped us 36ers, but I think we still could have won if we had concentrated a little bit more.
Big Polk, he's a 7-footer, and he does more than just rebound. Very good shooter around from the 10-foot mark.
He's a pure shooter from anywhere from 20 feet in. He's probably the only pure shooting center that's ever been out here.
And you're back in Australia and looking forward to taking the Sonics to the finals?
Just looking forward really to making them a better team than they were last year.
Good on you.
League results from around Australia so far are Sydney 99 defeated Perth 91, Brisbane 115 defeated Hobart 83, Geelong 121 defeated Illawarra 112, West Sydney 92 defeated Newcastle 86, Canberra 98 defeated Hobart 95, St Kilda 116 defeated Melbourne 110, Nunawading 103 defeated St Kilda 98, Coburg 104 defeated Illawarra 103. Well, that wraps up our coverage for tonight, but join us again next Monday when the Adelaide 36ers take on Hobart at the Apollo Stadium in our coverage of the National Basketball League competition. For now, it's good night to you all.